an assortment of food here because I'm making soup for our daughters. I will show you that meal. That's tomorrow. But I'll show you that meal. But I wanted to discuss a few things, a few misconceptions about home canned food. So I had done a real good inventory of my food this summer, and I will show you some things. I found one of these broths. This is the last one, I'm sure of it, because I went through everything, and the date is 2017. That's a long time ago. But it's still good because I pressure canned it and I know that it will last me. It's a little bit on a couple years, yes. I would generally try to use up my food within 3 years. But this one somehow got lost in the shuffle of the food, but there is not a thing wrong with it. So I have some corn here, which was canned in 2019. Now I'm showing you different things because I want to show you. This one is starting to show a little bit of rust around the edges. This one is still fine yet. It's not to the point where the rust has gone through. You don't want to use food that the rust is just about ready to go through. In other words, if you open your jar and the lid just crumbles, you don't want to eat that food. As long as you have a good seal and the rust hasn't got too much. So you see a little bit of rust here on this one. Another thing, it's really important, even if you buy food at the grocery store, is to wipe your lids before you go ahead and open them, because you don't know what's all been on there. You don't know if there was any spiders or anything like that. So I wipe the lids first before I'm going to open them up. But these are some of the things that we want to think about. So wiping the lids, checking for any kind of rust, checking your dates, and making sure they still seal. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to put all of this in my kettle, and then I am going to show you some other things that we need to look for when we have old food, just to make sure it's still safe. Now, botulism is killed with boiling at 10 minutes or longer, but that doesn't mean you couldn't get sick. So in other words, even if you would boil food, you may not have the botulism spores, but you could get food poisoning. And a lot of people do get food poisoning. So just because you boil it doesn't necessarily mean that it's safe to eat. It just means that maybe those toxins would leave your body. Did you know what Botox is? I really need a little Botox right here. Botox is actually botulism, but it's in a controlled environment. It's poison. It actually is poison, and they use that to help fill your skin to make you years younger. I don't know about you, but I think I'll skip on the Botox, and I'll skip on the botulism as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's open these up. It smells amazing, it smells good, it looks good, and it had a seal. So I'm going to dump the whole contents in here because I'm making chicken noodle soup. And I don't mind having the liquid. Also, another thing is, people say that if you pressure can your vegetables, all of the nutrients are leaching into the juice. That is correct. When you pressure can food, it will go into the juice. That's why when you have your vegetables, I try to use the liquid as well, because the liquid has a lot of the vitamins. So go ahead, and I have to wash these in good hot soapy water, because as you can see, when you have the broth like this, they are quite fatty and they can become a little bit of a challenge to wash. So go ahead and heat this up. Then I add my noodles to it. And this is going to be a great meal because we're going to pair this off with a salad. I'm making some breadstick, and this is my bread. These are dinner rolls, but I'm actually making these into breadsticks. And we're going to have a fabulous meal that's extremely frugal. And home canning can be extremely frugal. Go to yard sales, go to thrift stores, and find your jars. Back when the virus and COVID was hitting, everybody was trying to look for jars. Everybody was getting really into this, and a lot of people then decided it wasn't something they wanted to do. So you're starting to see a lot of these jars on sale that were used or not used. People bought them and didn't use them. So out of season is when you get your things. The thrift stores have a lot of jars out of season. When it becomes in season is when then you have a hard time finding them and they're more expensive. Purchase your things out of season. Your lids. So Blaine Farm and Fleet has clearance on their lids, and I can get them as cheap as $2 a pack sometimes. At certain times of their sales, you can get lids, and then I get enough for 2 years. So there you go, everyone. I'll show you just a little bit of the meal that we're having. I like to work on big meals in batches. In other words, instead of doing everything all at the same time, I do it in batches. So the soup was made, and now this is the next morning where I'm making the breadsticks for our daughters and for our granddaughters. So what you're seeing here is the pesto that I made with some of the amazing nuts, and this was basil, and I put it in the freezer, and this is absolutely amazing. It tastes just like summer. So I am working on this, and it's butter and olive oil, and it's an amazing pesto. I like to make it every year and freeze it. And then these are the onion breadsticks. So basically it's the onion rolls, and I just turned them into breadsticks with some Parmesan cheese and soup, salad, and breadsticks. It's almost like the Olive Garden, and it tastes just like the Olive Garden. All right, I'll show you the rest of our meal. I get many comments wondering, why do I always working on food? Well, I do cook a lot of meals. I cook a lot of meals for a lot of people, and food is something that I enjoy creating. It's just one of the things that I love as a hobby too. Chicken pot pie brings me back memories of my mother, my grandma, and everyone in my family. It's amazing making meals with home canned foods. You don't have hardly any waste. Now all we have to do is wash up all of these, and we can reuse them over and over again. The joys of YouTube, trying to find that perfect thumbnail in hopes that people watch. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you guys again tomorrow.